Okay, let's talk about something that can be so frustrating. You feel it. You just know. The exhaustion, maybe a little nausea, the cramps. I mean, every single sign is pointing to yes. So you take a pregnancy test, you hold your breath for what feels like an eternity, and there it is. One single, solitary line. A loud and clear no. It feels like your body and that little plastic stick are telling you two completely different stories. So what in the world is going on here? Are you just imagining things? Is the test broken? Or is there something a bit more complicated happening behind the scenes? Well, let's dive into it. We're going to put on our detective hats and really follow the clues. Because there is a logical, biological story playing out here. And once you understand it, it makes navigating this whole confusing time a lot easier. All right, first things first, let's tackle that negative test head on. The one that feels like it's completely ignoring everything you're feeling. Before we get into any of the science, you just gotta know. This is an incredibly common experience. You are not alone in this. And here's the most important thing to get straight right from the beginning. You are not making it up. Those symptoms are real, they are physical, and they're happening for a reason. But, and this is a big but, a pregnancy test isn't measuring how tired you are or if your breasts are sore. It's a super specific scientific tool, and it's looking for one thing and one thing only. And that one thing operates on a very strict biological timetable that has absolutely nothing to do with when your symptoms decide to show up. So to really understand this timetable, we have to introduce the main character of our story. This is the single, tiny molecule that every home pregnancy test on the planet is searching for. I like to think of it as the body's own secret messenger. So that messenger is a hormone, and it's called human chorionic gonadotropin, or just HCG for short. Think of HCG as the official announcement of pregnancy. When you use a test, you're basically sending out an invitation to see if this hormone is in the building. The test strip has these little antibodies that are designed to grab onto any HCG that flows past, and that's what triggers the reaction that makes that second line appear. But here's the catch. Your body can't send this messenger out until a very specific event happens first. And right here, this is the central plot twist of our whole mystery. You know, most of us just assume that the second an egg is fertilized, the pregnancy clock starts ticking. It makes perfect sense, right? Well, it's not actually true. From a hormonal point of view, your body has no clue that fertilization has even happened. That fertilized egg is still on a journey. It's like this little independent traveler, not even connected to your system yet. So fertilization, it is not the starting line. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This journey is a whole process. After fertilization, as you can see, that tiny embryo goes on a trip that can last for days, all the way to the uterus. It's only when it arrives and actually attaches itself to the uterine wall, that's implantation, the key event, that the real magic happens. Think of it like the embryo is finally plugging into the mothership. Only then do the cells that are going to become the placenta get the memo to start pumping out HCG. And even then, look at the timeline. It takes a few more days for that HCG to build up enough for a test to even pick it up. This whole thing can take up to 2 full weeks. So now that we know our secret messenger HCG has this really specific and sometimes delayed start date, let's look at the actual reasons why that message might not show up on your test, even if you are, in fact, pregnant. Okay, so there are 4 main culprits here, and they all circle back to that timeline. The most common one, by a long shot, is just testing too early. The amount of HCG in your system literally doubles about every 2 to 3 days in early pregnancy. So testing even 1 day too soon can be the difference between a yes and a no. Then there's late implantation. If that little embryo decided to implant on day 12 instead of day 6, your whole HCG production schedule gets pushed back by almost a week. Third, the test itself might just not be sensitive enough. And finally, everybody's body is different, and the speed at which you produce HCG can just be unique to you. Let's dig into that point about the test for a second. Test sensitivity is a real thing. It's measured in something called MIU/mL. So a really sensitive test might be able to detect HCG when it's as low as 10 MIU/mL. But a standard test might need a level of 25 or even 50 to show a positive result. So if your HCG level is, say, 15, the sensitive test might give you a faint positive line, while the standard one will still be totally negative. So if you are going to test early, your best bet is to look on the box for the lowest MIU/mL number you can find. Okay, this brings us right back to where we started. If HCG, the actual pregnancy hormone, is either not there yet or just too low to be detected, then what on earth is causing all those very real symptoms? The tiredness, the sore breasts, all of it. Well, it turns out there's another hormone in the mix, a bit of a symptom imposter. I'd like you to meet progesterone.
This is the hormone that runs the show in the second half of your menstrual cycle. It kicks into high gear right after you ovulate, every single month, whether you're pregnant or not. Its main job is to get the uterus ready for a potential pregnancy, thickening the lining, increasing blood flow. It's basically the body's nest-building hormone. And a major side effect of all this prep work is a whole bunch of symptoms that are, you guessed it, famously and confusingly linked to early pregnancy.
And this slide just illustrates the great symptom mix-up perfectly. I mean, just look at these two columns. Sore breasts? Check. Fatigue? Check. Mild cramping? Check. They're pretty much identical. And that's because rising progesterone is causing these feelings no matter what. It's the reason why symptom spotting in those first couple of weeks is just so unreliable. Your body is running the exact same hormonal program in the days leading up to a period as it is in the days leading up to a positive pregnancy test. Okay, so I think we've cracked the case. We know about the HCG timeline, we know about the progesterone mix-up. So now let's switch gears from the why to the what you can actually do. How can you get a clear, reliable answer and just minimize some of the anxiety of this whole waiting game? So here is your step-by-step guide. First, and I really can't stress this enough, wait. Wait until after your period is actually late. This just gives that HCG messenger plenty of time to build up. 2, if you absolutely have to test early, go for one of those high-sensitivity tests. 3, test smart. Use your very first urine of the day since it's the most concentrated. 4, if the test is negative but your period is still a no-show, just wait 48 hours and test again. That gives your HCG levels a chance to double. And finally, the absolute gold standard for certainty is a simple blood test from your doctor. It can detect even the tiniest amounts of HCG. This really brings us to our final and maybe the most important takeaway of all. We've talked about hormones and tests and timelines, but there's a certain mindset that can truly change how you experience this uncertain time. And it's all about respecting your body's own unique clock. Let this idea just really sink in for a minute, because it's the absolute core truth of everything we've talked about. Pregnancy isn't a single event. It is a process. Fertilization is just step 1. The real biological start of a pregnancy is implantation, that moment the embryo connects to you. And even that critical step doesn't mean you're going to get an instant answer. There is always a lag time. Look, that infamous 2-week wait is emotionally tough enough as it is. It's this weird limbo of hope and anxiety. When you test too early and get a negative, it doesn't usually make you feel better. It just kicks off a cycle of doubt and confusion and disappointment that gets layered on top of an already stressful time. Sometimes protecting your own peace of mind means protecting yourself from your own impatience, which is totally understandable. So, what's the big takeaway here? In these early days, the real test you're taking isn't the one you bought at the pharmacy, it's a test of patience. Your body is doing something incredibly complex, incredibly delicate. It's writing a story, and you just can't rush it. The answer will come. And the most powerful thing you can do is give your body the time and the grace it needs to tell you that story on its own schedule.